Hey guys, it's your best boxing friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Rachel, Tyson Fury. There's only one Tyson Fury, and there's only one Dillian Whyte. There's a rumor that Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, it's actually not a rumor. Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte are ordered to fight per the WBC, right? To be the number one. I don't really know what the order's for, but basically I think it's so whoever gets the next shot at Deontay Wilder. But the point is that Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte want to do the fight, but they want to do it for the WBC Diamond Belt. Like, okay, that's why I didn't tell you this before we started rolling. I wanted your impression of what is this? Why?
Well, I mean, if we need like made up belts to get more fights, then I guess, yay.
I mean, you're a pretty hardcore boxing fan, keeps up with the sport better than most. Do you know what the WBC Diamond Belt is?
No.
That's because it's stupid. Nobody cares what the WBC Diamond Belt is.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Now, in the same way though, Rachel, if you were going to fight somebody next week, and the WBC wanted to give you a diamond belt,
right, like if I was a boxer.
Would you be like, hell yeah, I'll fight for the WBC Diamond Belt?
I know. I mean, maybe not if I'm Tyson Fury, because like I feel like I have enough like cred or whatever that can be like, what? But like if I'm like another boxer that's trying to make a name for myself or make a career or whatever, I might be looking at things. Although I would suggest that you look more closely because from what I understand, don't boxers pay fees for these belts?
Yeah,
so like make sure that you understand like that you're paying for this, and so it might not be
it's just a
like worthwhile,
thing, right? It's like if you pay somebody to like publish something that you wrote.
Yeah, or you pay somebody to say that you're the number one, like whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The only belt that you can win in boxing that you don't pay a sanctioning fee for that is the Ring Magazine belt. It's the only one that the fighters don't have to pay for.
As far as like having a physical belt.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about just ranking fighters. So
yeah, I mean the only belt you can win and wear around your waist.
Which makes sense because it seems like a conflict of interest to have people paying for things that they are ranked or winning a belt in. I don't know. It just seems...
You mean that the sanctioning organizations are basically ridiculous?
Right.
And that the whole thing seems kind of... Especially if you delve into it deeper, into the alphabet organization rankings. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but yeah, their rankings are ridiculous. Like you see guys ranked... my opinion is that they're ridiculous. Like I see guys that I've never heard of ranked number 3 by the WBA. I get that those guys do certain things to like take certain fights, etc., that get them those rankings, and then the idea is they work their way up to a title shot. But at the same time, while that might have been useful in the past, I feel like today boxing has grown a lot, and we all know who the basic top 10 fighters in a division are. That's why you can have 2 separate rankings panels, Ring Magazine and Transnational Boxing Rankings Board, that are completely independent from each other and come up with about the same list of fighters.
Right.
And that happens over and over again with other types of panels. So I'm not sure what good they serve the sport besides it tying it back to history. And I don't know. I'm not saying... Some people believe, Rachel, that we got to get rid of the sanctioning organizations. I'm not sure if that's something that's even possible, right? Like, I don't know if it can be done. But at the same time, I wish that the sanctioning organizations like the WBC would take responsibility for themselves and not make up weird title belts, right? Like the WBC Diamond Belt, which is just like arbitrary. Or another good example would be the WBA, who has the WBA Super Champion, a WBA Regular Champion. They want to make a WBA Gold Champion. Like it's ludicrous, right? I get as the fighter works his way up. You know, over in our friends over in the UK, they have a pretty good system over there for fighters, and they have like a lot of support for the fighters that come up to fight for the British title or the Commonwealth title. And these are like regional level things as they move up, and that's something interesting and noteworthy to do as a fighter. The United States has a similar thing. We just don't really follow that closely because it's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same kind of history. So I get like regional level belts existing in a way, but once we get to the top, very top, there should be only one champion per organization, right? Since we already have to have the four that we have, isn't that enough champions? The four champions. We don't need WBC champion, WBC Diamond Belt champion.
Well, let me just say this: I don't look at the sanctioning organizations for champions. So I either look at like the ring or the TBRB.
T-Bird.
Like,
I call it T-Bird, short.
Those are the two things that I look at. So I don't care like who has like what belt. All I know is when somebody has a lot of belts, it means that they've done well.
Yeah.
I don't even look at like what belts that I know what the ring belt looks like, but that one actually means something. And then, WBC is green and it's a pretty prominent like belt that I see out there to have.
Yeah.
And then so I see like there's something to go around. So I guess I kind of see the sanctioning bodies as lower level, regional, whatever. That's how I always I guess kind of view
You're
it.
a purist. You better win the ring mag. If you have a belt, it better be the Ring Magazine belt, or you better win the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board's designation as champion. The T-Bird, nobody calls it that. The TBRB doesn't have a belt.
Yeah.
And I talked to Springs Toledo, who's one of the founders of that organization. You don't know about the organization quickly. Springs Toledo, Chris Rold, and Tim Starks were originally members of the Ring Ratings panel. Mm-hmm. And after Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Promotions bought the Ring magazine, and because of some changes they made to the way that they did their championships, those guys left and formed their own body. So that's what this is. So the idea is that it's completely removed away from any kind of promoter influence. They don't have belts, and they'll never have belts because they're a nonprofit and they don't want to get into having to make belts and where do they get the money for that, etc.
Right.
So if you don't know about it, I do encourage you to at least go. Their rankings are good, and I reference them often when I do any kind of boxing writing work I have to do. Those are the two places I check. I'll look who the ring panel has rated. There's about 8 to 15 people on the ring panel. The Transnational Boxing Rankings Board, I think they have 50 people on their ratings panel. So it's like you get a pretty good gauge of what's going on, or at least.
And I feel like the existence of both those organizations keeps each in check. Although I don't feel like TBRB needs to be kept in check because they started with a very intentional purpose, which was we've got to be free of conflict of interest and set and how we're determining champions. Whereas a ring, when a promoter buys, is you're kind of concerned, and I was concerned. I
think, and I don't remember the specific example, but just about every time I think, hey, I don't even know if the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board needs to exist anymore, the ring goes off and does something where I'm like, okay. And I don't remember the fight. I wish I would have looked up it. Didn't know I was going to talk about it. But it's a situation where basically it should be number 1 versus 2 to fill a vacancy, right? Mm-hmm. They started doing it for a while. They were doing anybody in the top 5. And they curved that back down to 1 versus 2, or sometimes 1 versus 3. Now, the problem with the 1 versus sometimes 3 model is that sometimes the ring will have a guy rated at number 3 that basically only they think is the number 3 rated guy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when they do something like that, the crown of ring championship, it just kind of reminds you, okay, maybe it is good that the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board exists. Since I'm throwing out criticism of the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board is that I think that sometimes they're a little too rigid in how they do things. I will say that they have done a good job of loosening up sometimes. So when Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin fought the second time, originally, no matter who won that fight, they wouldn't have been the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board champion. They wouldn't be the lineal champion. They wouldn't be the man at middleweight because of their rules, because they were strictly following the rules. But they did, at least in that instance, say, you know what, we're going to do it for this because it makes sense. And I think you have to, rules are great, and it's good to have rules.
When a sport that is dependent on judging, I think you have to have, there's always going to be some leeway. So it's not like we don't have a playoff system. We don't have things that kind of
in anything
keep us out of determining who's the champion.
And the rules exist in any part of life for a reason, but what's more important is the spirit of the rule, right? The reason.
Well, and what's most important is arriving at truth.
Exactly.
And what is the truth of the middleweight division? Was it when these guys fought that one of them, like we're all like, well, one of these guys is the the top dog here or not. And so it's like discerning that truth. Anyway, this has been. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, part of your job as a YouTube boxing person out there watching YouTube boxing shows is to discern the truth about what boxing show you want to watch. We are so grateful that you have chosen to spend this time with us. We really like talking about boxing with you, our best boxing friends, and we're just so thankful that you would hang out with us. Come do it every day if you want, except for Saturday and Sunday, because we
don't have new shows on Saturday and Sunday.